Hey, my name is Jeffrey Heim, and if you've heard of me, it's because of the alligator attack skull fracture I survived while diving for Megalodon shark teeth in a Florida river. But today, we're going to be talking about another diver looking for Megalodon shark teeth who was attacked and narrowly survived with his life. His name is Will Georgitis. He was also all over the news, but he was attacked by a 13-foot alligator and had a much crazier fight that he narrowly survived. I can't believe he got out of this alive. We're going to go over every single detail, and it gets insane. Me and Will have been trying to get together for the longest time now. I mean,
4 months, 5 months, yeah.
Yeah, ever since you got bit.
Yeah, pretty much. Till you're like, yeah, as soon as you can, let me know, and like we'll meet up. And it's been about 4 months, 5 months now.
And I remember that I reached out right away because I was thinking, I know what is about to happen to you with the media and everything.
Oh, dude, yeah, you were right too. Yeah, it didn't relent for a while.
I don't even remember what I said, but I was just like, if you need anything, let me know. Like, because when I went through the whole media frenzy, like your phone blowing up, everybody coming out of the woodwork, asking you what happened.
Tell me your story. What happened? Can we get an interview? Can we do this? Yeah, all that stuff. I mean, it was, and then of course everybody that I used to know years ago, like all the way back to babysitters I had when I was like a little kid.
Really?
We're like, yeah, I remember babysitting you, and are you okay about all this stuff? But it's like, yeah.
Dude, babysitters reach out? That's crazy.
Way long. Yeah, it's weird. It was really weird, actually.
I didn't have any babysitters.
Yeah, it's strange, but
I had like people from middle school. Like I'm a personal trainer part-time, and I had people that I like met with one time who would reach out to me and years later and say, I saw you on the news. Like, oh, okay.
It's like, you were the guy. Like,
Yeah, so it took a while to get back, but like the whole media frenzy was a lot. Like you have to do public relations on your own all of a sudden, in addition to fighting this injury and trauma.
Yeah, while you're trying to recover, while you're in the hospital, while you're answering all these doctors' questions, nurses want you here, doctors want you there, you have an appointment here, appointment there, and then it's like, oh, but we need you to stop everything you're doing so you come talk to us. And it's like, all right, well, yeah, that was... And then you warned me. Yeah, I mean, you did warn me, and that was kind of one of the you say you don't remember what you said, but you were like, hey, by the way, it's about to be a shitstorm, something along those lines. And you're like, I can help you through it a little bit.
I remember I got you before the national news.
Yeah. It was just local had talked to me at that point. You're like, it's about to get crazy, dude. Yeah, it definitely did.
Yeah, I said.
I wish I could have talked to you a little more, honestly, because it did get weird.
It was weird.
Yeah.
It's hard to. I experienced like a news station trying to twist my experience into the fact that I provoked the gator.
Oh, wow.
And then it's my fault.
Yeah.
But that didn't happen, and that was a time where we didn't have the footage. So for the first 2 weeks, we didn't have the footage.
And you couldn't say,
And most people believed
they were making their own story.
But then they said, And I had a black eye on my face, and this guy is arguing with me, like taking me through the ringer.
Damn, dude.
For like an hour, and it ended up not airing, thankfully, because
it was so weird of an interview or something.
He messed up and didn't get my consent before. So he tried after he was grilling me for an hour, and I'm stressed for the next 2 days.
At this point, you don't.
For the next 2 days, I threw up at 3 a.m. from anxiety and panic attacks, thinking about this news story that was going to drop and ruin my life. Because that's how bad he made me look, and I didn't know how it was going to be edited.
Well, thank God that nothing like that happened.
And then 2 days later, I'm watching the news, waiting for it to come out, and it never did. And then he emailed me, said, "Can we get you to sign off on that interview?" I said,
like, nope.
Absolutely not. I told him I was throwing up at 3 a.m. from that. I said, absolutely not.
I'm done. Yeah.
That was crazy. But your experience is different because you're in the hospital so long.
Yeah, it was I think 6 days, and then they let me out. And it was more so like I made them let me go. It was like, I'm not sitting here anymore. Because that's a whole nother story, dude. I could go on for days about that one. The hospital experience was completely awful. I mean, like the most awful experience I think I've ever been through in where anybody was supposed to be helping.
That's
like
crazy.
I've been treated better by car mechanics. I've been treated better by with my pets, veterinary like situations and things like that. It was weird. My sister's a nurse, dude. It got to the point where she had to be there on a live call with me when the nurses would come in, so that she could make them open up their computers to find the files that showed what they were supposed to be doing with me. And then they would open it and they'd be like, "Oh, we didn't know that that's what we were supposed to be doing." And she's like, "No, this is day one nursing." And they were literally like refusing service to me or whatever. All kinds of it's another story for another.
That's
day.
crazy.
dude, like torture sessions. Like some of them nurses were like making me be in the worst pain I could ever be in, kind of thing. It was like,
my God.
what scale of 1 to 10? What kind of pain are you in? I'm like 10, dude, 10, bro, 10 right now. Like I'm like rolling. I can't, like I want to get up, but I can't get up, and all this other stuff. And they're like, oh, we gave you medication, 2 hours ago, so we just can't do anything for another 2 hours because the medication schedule you're on, blah blah blah, all this stuff. And then I'm telling my sister about this, and she's a nurse, and she's like, that's fucked up, whatever, like I got to be there when they come in the room next time.
So your sister, who knows better, had to do their jobs for them.
Had to do their job for them, because it was like they came in, they're like, here's your medication. She's like, stop right now, go into the computer, open up this file, now scroll down, see where it says this, open up that file. Now you see that list? That's a list of what you're supposed to be giving him and the hour regiment that you're supposed to be giving him. Dude, I saw the list. It was like that fucking long. It was like, it wasn't 1 or 2 lines of medication. It was like, dude, you're supposed to give him this many things. So it was like nerve blockers, muscle relaxers, things that would like actually like deaden pain between here and there. And they were refusing to give me those things. Dude, they were giving me Tylenol up to that point. It's like my arm was broke off, the other one dislocated completely, stapled all up, metal plates in my arms, and they were giving me Tylenol because they didn't want to give me more. I don't know why, but they were literally like, no, we can't give you no more because we gave you Tylenol 2 hours ago. It's a 4-hour thing.
So you're doing it incorrectly.
Oh, dude, mad incorrectly. To the point where it's like I was supposed to be on, like I said, muscle relaxers and nerve blockers and all this other stuff all the way down the line, and they were doing bare minimum. And it was like, and then that nurse finally realized, and she's like, okay, well, I'll do what you're supposed to. And then the next nurse shift would start, and it'd be right back to torture session.
Oh my gosh, it was starting over.
Oh god, dude. And it was like, okay, so every 12 hours it was another torture session would start, and then I'd have to tell this person to look up on their computer all this other stuff every 12 hours, dude. And then it was like, I'm in here 6 days. It's like at day 6 I was like, get the fuck out of here. Like, please let me go.
I didn't really care it was that bad. I had no idea that happened.
Oh, dude, nobody did. It was to the point. All right, so when they went to discharge me, they're like, okay, somebody's gonna come in and they're gonna tell you all your aftercare instructions, and they're gonna give you all your stuff for you to go, your packet, whatever. A lady came in, she set an envelope down on the counter and said, I'll be right back to talk to you about this. And then 2 hours went by, and another person came in that was not that person originally. That person came in and they were like, okay, you're good to go. They're like, wait, what about aftercare instructions? They're like, they didn't talk to you about that? It's like, no. They came in and left the envelope. And they're like, oh, well, they should have talked to you about that. But you're good to go. All right, can you talk to me about it? And they're like, no, that's another person. I was like, well, how about you send them back? Oh, yeah, well, I'll go find them. I'll send them back. And then 2 hours later, another person, why are you still here? It's like, all right. Like, do y'all know how to do your jobs? And then it was one of these things where I was like, dude, they were about to send me out. Like, I didn't have a sling. I didn't have anything. I'm like, hey, can I get a sling? Y'all gave me a sling before, but you cut it off. And they're like, where is it? I'm like, it's over there on the counter, cut up. And they're like, well, just use that one.
Oh, man.
And I was like, dude, you cut it apart. You literally cut it in half because you needed to x-ray my arm one more time. And so you cut it off because you couldn't move my arm. And then you never gave me another one. And then the lady's like, oh, they did that. Well, I don't even know if we have any more of those. So, like, if they didn't give you another one, then you're probably not supposed to have it.
That's crazy. Your care was just so bad.
Wait a minute. Like, you just told me they gave me one, so I was supposed to have one, and they cut it off because my arm can't move. And then because they didn't give me a second one, I'm not supposed to have one. My arm can't move. Did you hear me say that? Like, they cut it off because my arm can't move. So, like, they're like, just go on. And then it was like, it actually took my mom at that point. She was there. She went walking around the hospital until she stopped every single person. Can I get a sling? 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 Until they finally found somebody who could actually find the sling to give it to me to get out the hospital. Dude, it was insane. They even sent my prescription to a pharmacy that had closed. They let me go at 9 p.m. The pharmacy closed at 8 p.m. So it's like, what am I supposed to do? It's like, I was on a 3-hour pain measure, like, dude, so it's like, what am I supposed to do? And it was a Sunday or something weird. So I was like, am I supposed to wait till Monday morning? Like, I'm supposed to be taking an antibiotic every certain amount of time too. And it's like, well, they were like, oh, just figure it out. It's like, no, y'all really figure it out. Y'all figure it out.
When I was infected from mine, because I got bit on the hand too, it swelled up. And my care was great.
Yeah.
I was lucky. That's one of the ways ours is a little bit different because I have no complaints.
South Carolina versus Florida is a little different.
I guess.
Yeah.
And I was near Sarasota, so I went to Sarasota Memorial, and they were great. But I missed my antibiotics by like an hour,
And it was just.
and my fever, like I had a paramedic checking in on me, and he said, if this goes up one more degree, we're going back to the hospital from the infection.
Okay,
So that was
yeah.
just from the puncture wounds. But also, I want to talk about back to the attack itself.
Yeah.
Like, there's so much more that you told me that the news never put
Oh, no,
on.
they didn't
And I know they only do the news doesn't.
The hot flash.
Yeah, there's a hot flash. They want the key things, one paragraph, whatever. But like, your story is different, and there's a lot of details. So I just want you to
Yeah.
let
From
it
the
go.
beginning? All right.
Yeah.
From the beginning. So I dove a whole. All right. Let me just start. I dive commercially. I find a lot of shark teeth. That's what I do. And I'd had a customer of mine who's bought for me for quite a few years, and we talked back and forth through social media quite a lot, years of it. And he wanted to come fossil diving, so I was like, all right, I'll show you the way. I've been doing this for years. I thought I knew what I was doing. And so he came down. We went out. I was showing him how to do it in the Cooper River, which is where I started myself. So did my first dive perfect. Nothing went wrong. His first dive, he was a little nervous, so he ended it early, but nothing went wrong. Mosquitoes out here. But nothing went wrong first dive for me. Nothing went wrong first dive for him. He goes into a second dive. He did the second dive fine. Spent his whole dive down there. Did okay. I mean, he was novice, so he didn't do great, but I mean, he did a full dive, found teeth, all that stuff. So the second dive for myself, I dove the same spot he had just dove. Same spot I've been diving for years and years and years. I think I've done 60 dives on it, at least. I don't know exactly the number, but yeah, close to 60 dives. And did my whole dive. I was finding awesome teeth. I found, like, just before I finished the dive, I found a 5.8 something meg. It was complete. It was awesome. It was nice. It was really good. I mean, I was having a great day all the way up until that point. So literally my thought was, I'm having a great day. There ain't no reason for me to push this any farther than I already have. I've got 700 PSI left in my tank. Like, I'm good. I could go till 500, but I don't need to. I got a good meg just now. Like, I'm just going to end it now. I got one more tank on the boat. It's good. Good day. It's a great day. That's literally what I was thinking as I was coming up. It's been a great day.
So you came up with more air than you normally do.
Yeah, normally I'll push it to 500 to 300.
Hey, thanks for making it this far. Most people don't. If you want to learn more about Will, his Instagram is in the description below. And we're pretty small here, so it would really help us get his story out if you drop a like, a comment, and pop that subscribe button. But let's get back to it because it gets even crazier. Right.
Yeah.
And there's a lot to it. Like,
Yeah.
every minute matters, every second matters, especially in a situation like that. But you were saying that you came up with more air than you
I
normally
ever do. Yeah, normally I'll push my, like, 500 is where it's like, that's when you're supposed to call it. Like, you should come up with 500 PSI. I came up with 750. Well, I started coming up with 750. Normally, I will push my PSI all the way down to 300 before I even come up, because it's like, I know what the surface is. I know I don't have trees in between me and that. Like, I know my area. It's like, obviously, if I'm diving an area I don't know, I will be conservative. But if I know it like the back of my hand, like this spot, it's like, oh, I know what's above me and what's below.
Yeah.
So I was like, I could have pushed it, but I was like, no, I'm fine. I'm good. Happy with what I had, so I came up with 750. As soon as I broke the surface, I do the normal thing. I'll look around, look for my boat, look for, orient myself. See my boat, I look to my left, and there was an alligator. So let me backtrack a little bit. So when I was ready to come up from the bottom, I saw I had 750, and one of the rules that all of us river divers follow, if you're not tied to your anchor still, is get away from the bank before you come up. If you want to come up next to the bank, you're almost guaranteed to come up next to a gator, because that's where the gators are. They're on the banks, always on the banks.
I didn't know that.
So it's like,
I mean,
they
it
sit in the
makes
grass,
sense, but I didn't know that rule.
Yeah, that's one of the ones we follow. Is like, get away from the bank before you come up. If you come up right next to the bank, you might come up next to one. So it's like, at least maybe in the middle of the river, you got better chance. So I moved out 40 feet into the center of the river, and then I came up. And literally 40 feet back towards the bank was where the gator was. And he was sitting in the water waiting, basically lined up with me perfectly. So I assume he was waiting for me to come up, which underwater, you can hear underwater and the bubbles come up. And I've seen gators wait on bubbles. Female gators will make bubbles. And that's one of the things the males look for. Is the bubbles too. So it's like a lot of things that could have been a factor that involved, all the different things that cause it to happen. But there's quite a lot. There's the mating season thing. There's
That was me.
well, I mean, I've had a lot of people talk to me about that too. They're like mating season thing. The fact that one is a territorial gator, that other people have talked to me about that afterwards. Like, I've dove that spot a lot, but I hadn't dove it in a few years. And it's in the last couple of years, there was one that had been sitting there. And it seemed territorial because he would come at boats and stuff like that. It's like, gee, wish I'd known that. Wish I'd known that before I went out there. I thought it was a safe spot because I dove it so many times and never seen one. So, but in the last couple of years since I had been there, I guess this got like that. And then there's a couple other factors too. But yeah, I moved away from the bank. But I think I had kind of enticed him because the way the bottom of that river is, I had gone back and forth between 40 and 20 feet, which he was probably sitting at 20 feet. I'm assuming 20 or 15 or somewhere in there that lived just before the bank. But I would come up close to the bank and then go back down. Come up close to the bank, go back down. And then by
Right
the
in
time
their territory.
yeah, right into. I mean, probably could have tickled him if I'd known he was there. Like I was probably. I mean, I could have been within a few feet of him underwater and not known it. So. But anyway, come up to the surface. He's over there to my left. I'm going. Tide's coming in, so we're going upriver, and he's going upriver. I'm going upriver. And as soon as I see him, he sees me, and he kind of like pops his head to the side, so he's facing up, lined up with me. And I guess as soon as he saw that I wasn't just a plant or something, I mean, he skyrocketed up out of the water. He comes at me. And so
You said he was like up out of the water.
yeah, so he started coming at me real fast, and there was weight coming off his neck. And so I know he's coming. I look at my boat. I see the guy on the boat's not looking. So he doesn't even know that the situation's going down. I don't think he even knew that I was at the surface yet. So I holler at the boat. I was like, pardon my French, but fucking help me. Yell that out. And the guy on the boat turns, he looks, but as soon as I yelled, the gator, I guess, heard a voice or a sound come out, and he's like, the gator's like, oh, it's definitely alive. And so he just turns on full speed. I mean, he was already coming at me fast, but then it was like, dude, there was a weight coming off his chest. Like, it was coming out from underneath him.
That's crazy.
I mean, his feet weren't touching the water. He was like up. And even the guy on the boat said he saw the whole body of the gator come up out of the water, everything. Like, the only thing that was in the water was the tail.
That's crazy.
So, like, within 3 seconds, this gator's on me. Like, I was hoping it was a territorial push, like, towards me, and he was just going to stop at a certain point, but then he never stopped. He just kept coming until he's, like, me to you distance, and I was like, okay, it's on. And he turns his head, like, opens his head up, or mouth up, and turns sideways like this to come down on my head. And I instinctively, like, I had the screwdriver in my hand, I instinctively kind of went to, like, hit him in the chin and push his head over. Like, I think I was trying to push his head away from me, so I kicked back. And my screwdriver touched the side of his chin instead of the center of it, and slid up the side, and he felt it touch the side of his mouth, and he came back, like, snapped back on my arm that had touched the side of his head.
They're so quick.
So again, if I hadn't done that, it would have been on my head, and then it would have been over.
Yeah.
But luckily, it got my arm instead. So
like, you were sitting here with the screwdriver.
I'm sitting here like this, like waiting. He's coming, and he goes like that, and I just like that, and he goes and just slapped on my arm.
Oh my god!
And it was like, dude, that didn't even come close to the sound. I mean, there was a sound, there was a shockwave feeling with the, like, it sounded like taking 2 2x4s and popping them together real hard.
Oh my god! And
I mean, it felt like a pallet of bricks dropped on my arm instantly. And then of course I knew what happened. Like it's like I got locked in, and I was like, fuck, bad situation, not where I want to be. I'm gonna die. Those are my thoughts, like, literally. And I started freaking out, doing the panic thing. So I'm like pushing on its mouth, trying to open it, like freaking out. I was like, oh, he's gonna spin. So I bear hugged him as fast as I could.
That's crazy.
And then he drops down, like, all silent predator, like, just drops down 3 inches, 4 inches, or not 4 inches, 4 feet below the surface. So I'm underneath him, basically, like, hugging him from underneath, and got my legs wrapped around his neck and my arms wrapped around his nose. and he just hold me down 3-4 feet under where I can see the surface, but it's like that far away. And so I could see enough light.
Really?
Yeah, it was weird. And it went dead still because he was floating with the current now at this point. So it was like calm still. So like it went silent. I'm just sitting there struggling. But yeah, so struggling at the surface, trying to open his mouth futilely. You know, there's no reason for me to even push on his mouth. But then I'm like, oh yeah, my screwdriver. And I'm like, I look and it's there, it's dangling. I was like, oh, it's still here. And I like,
So you had to let it go through the first bite.
oh, through the first. I mean, I didn't even know I still had. Like it was
Right.
kind of one of shit, you know. And I'm like, oh, grab, and I'm like, what do I do now? What do I do now? And it's like, oh yeah, screwdriver, stab. So like, let go with this arm because I'm trying to hug like this. I'm like, let go with this arm, and I have to grab. So I reach, and it's like, oh, there it is. It's still there. Oh, thank God, it's still there. Grab the screwdriver.
I can't believe you were able to grab the screwdriver
Oh,
with another
no.
arm as
Oh,
you're
yeah.
holding onto this 13-foot alligator with 3 limbs.
Yeah, it
That's
was weird.
crazy.
It was weird, but yeah. So the edge of his jaw was here, so like right there on my mouth. So like, or on my arm. So like, this was free, and the screwdriver was right here. So it was dangling.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah,
You had
again,
3
pure
inches
lucky.
of mouth
Pure luck.
to wrist.
Pure luck again. Like
and that it
another one
wasn't
of those,
on your BC. I
Oh,
use one
yeah.
on my BC.
Yeah, and it was all right. So my knife is right here, and his.
You
he
couldn't
had
have
it
gotten
like
to your
this.
knife.
He was like he pushed it. Yeah, he pinned it. Yeah, he
You
pinned my
could
knife.
not have gotten to your knife.
So
you could get to
luckily,
your
it was like
screwdriver.
only because the screwdriver was there, and
That's-
only because he didn't just happen to snap it up into the jaw too. Like
Right?
if he had actually caught it in his teeth, I wouldn't have been able to pull that screwdriver out.
That's
So it was luck, pure luck again. And that happens a bunch, the luck in this situation. But yeah, so I realized the screwdriver's there. I go to look, pull myself sideways, and I look, and I can see his eye, and he doesn't have that plate closed over it. He's just got his eye kind of like, he's got his eye closed, but it's not like clamped.
Okay.
So I was like, okay, I can see like an eyelid, and I can see like thick line in the
Underwater.
eyelid. Underwater. I'm like, look. Well, I mean, I'm holding him like this. I can just see his eyes right there. You know, so it's like I got time because I've got my BC on. My tank still got air in it. I'm breathing. I'm like looking. What do I do? You know. So I look. I can see this thick line in his eyelid. So I was like, okay, that's the connection point. So I grabbed the screwdriver. I lined it up like millimeters away from his eye. I didn't want to touch him and just have him freak out or whatever. Close it, cut that down. So I like let it get just a touch before, and then just jammed it as hard as I could. I don't know what happened at that point other than he exploded underneath me. Like I thought I had a grip on him, but it found out that I mean, I already know he's a strong gator, and everybody knows alligators are strong. I didn't know how strong, obviously.
Till you feel it.
Do you feel it till you're attached to it and that thing doesn't move, but you're going everywhere else? Like, I mean, if I could have watched that video, that would have been the part I wanted to see, because I felt like, dude, I ragdolled in his mouth. I mean, he like that, like a dog with a toy. Like it was.
That's cool.
And I mean, I was hugging him as hard as I possibly could, gripping on for my life. And within seconds, I was starfished out in front of him on my stomach, and he's out in front of me with my arm like this, and I'm like, you know, like Supermaning.
I didn't
In
know
front of
any
him.
of this.
And so, yeah, dude, it's a crazy story.
This
Like
is
I
such a
said.
long fight.
Oh, dude, it was stupid long. It sucks, actually, how long it was. So he has me starfished out. I'm thinking, okay, now he's going to roll because he's got me out in the open. I'm no longer holding on to him. So I instantly grab a hold of him again. And I think he was like, okay, it just stabbed me while it's hugging my head. Well, he's hugging my head again. I need to get this thing away from the surface. So he dove. Instantly, it was to the bottom.
And I know when I read that you said your back hit the bottom.
Oh, dude, talking about like the grossest feeling in your, you know, it's kind of one of those, is this really happening? Is he taking me down? Is he taking me, like, because I'm like, okay, we're going somewhere, because I could feel water going around
But
me.
you have no idea where.
No, and it starts getting real dark, and then my ears start going, and you know, so I'm thinking like, I think he's taking me down.
Oh my god.
And so like, I'm like, okay, I got to pop my ears because they were starting to hurt real bad, which is crazy that I had thought to pop my ears.
Right?
And then I was like, okay, well, if he's going to take me all, because we're going 50 feet down, it takes a second to get down there. So I had
Yeah.
time to think. So it's like, if he's going to take me down there, I'm filling my BC all the way up. Like, fill it till that's like, I mean, it's 40 plus pounds of lift on that one. So I'm like, I'm going to make it harder on him. And also, like, if I don't make it through this, I'll float to the surface. That was my
Yeah.
last ditch. Like, at least if I die, I'm going to be found. Like, somebody might
Wow.
find me. And so that was one of the thoughts going through my head at that moment. It gets real pitch black. All of a sudden, slam into the bottom of the river, neck first, head first in the back. And so it's like kind of one of those, oh shit, I'm right here now.
It could have been that could have broken your neck.
Oh, it could have very easily. Yeah. Luckily, the bottom of the river is super squishy mud, so it was like pluff mud stuff. So like I squished into it, like, you know, like
wow.
But yeah, still scary as crap. And then so he lands on top of me. So he's got all his 4 feet on the ground, and I'm underneath him, like laying under him, like belly up. And I can't see anything at this point. My flashlight's attached to my left hand, so I could pull my arm up like this, and I could see. And then I drop to do something with this hand, the one free hand, and then it would go black. And so I pull it up, and I could see, and then it could go black. And then pull it up, and go see. So I grab my screwdriver again, and it goes pitch black. And it's like, fuck, I want to get him in the eye so bad again. I wanted so badly to hit him in the eye, but I couldn't because I couldn't see. And I was like, if I stab him in the eye and he blows up again like he did before, like that hurts so bad, dude. I can't imagine. I can't describe it so anybody can imagine how bad that hurt when he shook me. So I was like, if I do that again and I don't get him in his eye and he shakes me again, I'm done. I'm not going to have any more fight left in me. So I was like, I need to stab him somewhere where it counts without missing. So I didn't know what else to do, so I put my hand on his teeth, basically ran my hand down the jawline until I was like tooth, till I found that big one, the big middle tooth that hangs down real far. And then I stuck the screwdriver blade into the crevice on the inside, so like up against his tooth, let it slide up on the tooth until it hit the gum. And then I put my hand underneath it, like palmed it like this, and then just jammed as hard as I could with everything I had. And I could feel it kind of pop through bone or gums or something. I felt it go. And he blew up again. He shook me like crazy. I could feel his teeth go like that on my arm. And it popped me out towards like the front of his mouth. So I was at like the canines, but never got out. So that's why there's like little holes here, here, and here, and here. Because I was at the front of his mouth there.
That's cool.
So there's inside mouth and then front of his mouth there. But then he still had me locked in. So I pulled my light back and I could see my arm like at his canines. So they're sticking up like this and sticking down like that. So I was like, I can see my arm almost free. And so I yank, and it doesn't move again. So I'm like, try to push up and I'm still locked in. So I couldn't move. And then my air ran out. So that was like, I'm already hyperventilating. My heart's going like crazy. I'm, screaming like, fuck, and then all of a sudden,
oh my God.
And it was like, okay, 10 seconds. This is literally what the thought was in my head. 10 seconds. I got to think about, like, what do I do or I'm dead. And then it was all the thoughts, oh, my family, oh, they're going to be sad. These people that I used to, everybody's going to think this, blah, 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 whatever. The thoughts that run through your head when you're that close to being dead.
Wow.
And then I was like, he can have my arm, fuck it. I don't need it. And I thought he was already through it because of the amount of shaking he did. The fact that his jaw was on the bone, like on the joint. So I figured he was already like halfway through. And I really thought that I was like, okay, that's my only way. So I put my feet on the side of his head. So like my arm's in his teeth, and I put one foot on one side of my arm, the other foot on the other side of my arm. And then I just ripped backward and tried to kick his head away as hard as I could. Ripped my arm backwards to try and tear it off at the elbow. And all of a sudden, I was free. And like, obviously still can't breathe. And, so I'm kicking up to the surface, and then I'm like, oh, I can't come up too fast because the bends.
Yep.
And then I'm also thinking like, well, if I come straight up and he comes straight up, well, round 2 and I got nothing left, so I'm like, what do I do? So I'm just kicking as hard as I can to the side, not even thinking about coming fast or slow. I'm like, if I just go sideways, my BC's already full. It'll pull me up no matter what.
To go sideways,
dude. Yeah. Weird. And at the same time, like I'm freaking out, like trying to breathe, and I'm like, if I take my reg out, I'm gonna breathe water, but like I got to keep it in. And I'm sitting there trying to pull against a dead reg. I knew I couldn't pull anything, but I had to because my body's trying to react to like, you need to breathe, dude. You need to breathe. So it's like,
oh my God,
it nuts. And then hit the surface. I'm 10 feet away from the boat because he'd been looking for me.
10 feet,
dude. It was like pop, and he's right there.
You're so lucky.
Oh, dude, everything about it so lucky.
Everything.
So, pull myself over to the boat. The guy on the boat's like, get out of the water, get out the water. And obviously I can't get out the water. My arms don't work no more. This hand's broken. This arm's broken here. So like I couldn't pull myself up on the ladder. I could just hold on to it. So I was like, dude, you got to drag me in. He dragged me in, and then we hauled ass to the hospital. And then all that craziness ensued afterwards. So it's like,
but that was bad care.
Yeah, crazy bad care. Dude, like I'd rather almost go against that gator twice than go back through that hospital system.
My
Like,
God.
I would
'Cause
take it twice.
The pain was so much longer, right?
Oh, dude, long, drawn out, told that I deserved it, all this other shit.
Oh,
It was like
my
that kind of
God.
stuff. So it was like, you know, and then treated like, oh, you crazy white boy, you know, like, you're a fool. You should have, you know.
Should have known better, yeah.
Yeah, and so that was kind of like.
But for you, it's your job, and for me
Yeah.
at this point, it's also
It's your
my
job. Yeah,
as
it's
well.
definitely your job. Yeah.
So,
And
like-
it was, dude, I've been as a fossil hunter making a living doing it. It's been 4 years of doing that, and so it's like I'm all in. You know,
Yeah.
it's like I couldn't not, you know,
you have to.
be there.
Yeah.
So
Really hope you enjoyed these crazy stories. Definitely share it around because we want to get the stories out. Hopefully we never have to go through something like that. If you want to learn more about Will, like I said, his Instagram handle is in the description below. Check him out. He's got a lot of fossils and shark teeth for sale that he still risks his life for. If you want to check out Shark Co., we have apparel, my handmade shark teeth jewelry, and our Megalodons. The link is in the description below as well, sharkco.com. Check this out. This is a pretty accurate depiction of what I went through right here.